The Meaning Behind Karma. Side Series of The Predators by Winged-Kitsune. Koro-sensei looked down at a thick binder of notes, all of which being filled with information on his soon-to-be newest student. Tomorrow was the day that the boy had been told to return to the school, but this child worried Koro-sensei when he looked into said child's history of assaults and fights with a decent number of students from almost every class. He had also gotten a hold of the boy's medical history and noticed an odd lack of visits despite what damage he would have gotten to his body from his hobby. "This kid is going to seriously hurt himself one day," Koro-sensei stated out loud suddenly, interrupting the still busy class. Nagisa had decided to speak up on his confusion from the sudden outburst with a slightly worried look. "Koro-sensei, what are you talking about?" he asked slowly. Koro-sensei looked up at him before smiling slightly, though his grin had never changed in real life, as it was permanently stretched across his face. "Just looking at something about the newest student," he said in a much calmer voice. "Karma?" he asked, surprising the octopus-like man with the boy's knowledge before he continued. "As in Karma Akabane?" A good number of the end class's students felt fear rise from their gut, namely Terasika, at the thought of said psychopath attending their class. It seemed that Nagisa was correct with this assumption. A sudden burst of outcry rang throughout the students. It had eventually come to the point that figuring out... not going to edit it. A sudden burst of outcry rang throughout the students. It had eventually come to the point that figuring out what each individual was saying had become rather difficult as the students argued and yelled over one another. Nagisa was one of the few exceptions, however. He was actually very excited to see the strawberry again after such a lengthy period of time. "Now, class," Koro-sensei suddenly exclaimed, getting all of their attention. "He is just another student, and, as such, I expect you all to get along," he yelled before attempting to get the child to return to their work. Children to return to their work. This proved rather difficult as they were all a bit more interested with murmuring about the new student that was meant to join their ranks the next day. Koro-sensei eventually gave up and ended up assigning them all extra homework, telling them that they could leave for a break until the next period once they finished the current paper. Once the room was more or less empty, Koro-sensei returned to his folder. He should have guessed that Akabane's appearance would cause an issue. He had beaten up an E3 class student before, after all.